Hey everybody, BasilRay from the ECF and from the YouTube, and today I've got something special. This is going to be my first exclusive video for VapeNReview.com. Now, making the move to the exclusive content of VapeNReview, I didn't want my first video to be your run-of-the-mill juice review or device review. I wanted to do something different, something special, something really useful, I think, for a lot of people. So today, BasilRay presents his tips and his tricks for traveling with your PV. That's right, tips and tricks for travel with BasilRay. That's me. So I just got back from my second international trip as a vapor, and I got back from the Philippines. I was there also in July. I've made a few trips to Philadelphia, one to Chicago. So I've been in and out of security checkpoints at the airport a lot in the last few months. Racked up over 40,000 miles worth of travel. Be 50 before the end of the year probably. So I think I've got some useful information for you guys. When you're traveling, you need to make sure that you pack wisely and that you pack your stuff appropriately. So you are going to need to buy one small item, and that's Ziploc bags. These are storage bags, quart size, okay? You should not buy bags that are bigger than 1 quart. Those are not allowed. This is what you're going to need, and you're actually going to need 4 of them to follow my packing method, if you will. So here I have 4 Ziploc bags. Each has its own special purpose. Bag 4 is going to be optional if you are not checking luggage, okay? So let's start it off. Let's talk about bag 1. So here we go. Here's bag 1. This was going to be your carry-on juice bag. So in my fancy little box here, look at it's a little jewelry box, little compartments for everything. Works out very well. Keeps my desk from being a complete disaster. So I'm going to just take a few bottles of juice here and toss them right into this bag. This is my liquid carry-on bag. This is going to go on the plane with me. Okay. The rule is you can have as many bottles that are 3 ounces or less in this bag as you can fit. Okay. So a 30 ml bottle, these are all 30 ml bottles. These are going to be just fine. Doesn't matter whether or not they've been opened because they're all smaller than 3 ounces. TSA has determined that it would take too many people working together to get, bottles that were any bigger than this, or, enough 3-ounce bottles to create a problem. So you were allowed to bring as many 3-ounce bottles as you can fit into a 1-quart bag. Doesn't matter if they're opened or not. Keep in mind that if you're bringing some like cologne or perfume with you, you would also need to put that in this bag, so pack accordingly. You also want to make sure that you bring enough juice in the event that if you're checking more juice in a checked bag, you've got enough for whenever you get to where you're going to last you in the event your bag doesn't arrive on time. Okay? Happened to me on my last Manila trip. I got to Manila in the Philippines and my luggage was in Europe, actually in Amsterdam, probably having a better time than I was. But I brought plenty of juice with me in my carry-on luggage that it didn't matter one bit. Okay? So once you've packed your liquids here that you're going to be carrying on with you, go ahead and just put these in an easily accessible slot in your bag. So here's my backpack. And I'm going to take this and put it right in the front pocket here. My backpack, that'll get zipped up. When you go through the security check at the airport, you do need to take out the bag, and you need to put this in the bin along with your wallet, phones, anything you've got in your pocket. So that's part of the reason it goes in the bag, because then it's easier for you to take it out. They can check it out. At most, if they were to question the amount of juice you've got, they can do an explosives test. That's what they do. They've actually been doing that on hands. They take a little swab and they swab it down, and then they check it with a light to see if there's any explosive residue. There surely should not be in your Nick juice. Okay. So again, this is going to go right here in front in the backpack, and I'm going to set this down off to the side for a moment. Bag 1, that is your carry-on juices. Bag 2, this is going to be your battery bag. Okay. If you've got mods or if you have just standard e-cigs, you want to take the batteries and you want to put them in here. I don't use standard e-cigs anymore, so here's an example of batteries. We've got a couple of sets of 16340s, an 18650, and a 14500. These are the batteries that I have for all the devices that I plan on bringing with me. Okay, so you cannot check open batteries. Okay, if you have, and I've got an example somewhere here, if you have sealed batteries, okay, I don't have sealed batteries. I thought I did, but I don't. But sealed batteries can go in your checked bag, but obviously if you've been using any of these aren't sealed anymore, so they need to go in their own bag. It just makes it easier in the event you need to, 1, find them when you get to where you're going. You don't have to dig through your stuff to find all your batteries. And 2, if they want to check through your stuff, they're nice, neat, they're in their own little bag. Okay. Also, a word of advice. Make sure your batteries are fully charged before you pack them. Also, make sure that you bring either a backup device or an extra set of batteries in case you get delayed or you burn through the first set too quickly. Bring a pass-through, bring something. Just something to keep yourself from having to run out and, heaven forbid, purchase a pack of cigarettes and have a real cigarette somewhere. Heard a rumor that somebody got, in a situation where they ran out of batteries, and the first thing they did is they ran out and grabbed a Marlboro. That's obviously defeating the purpose. You want to keep yourself away from the cigarette. So make sure you either bring extra batteries or standard e-cig batteries to use with the atomizers you're already bringing, or another mod that uses different batteries that you have, just to pass through something just to keep yourself honest in the event that the unthinkable happens. Okay. This bag also going to go in my backpack, so I'm going to toss this right in here. Don't need to bring that out during security check. It can stay in your backpack. You're good to go. Bag 3. This is my atomizer, cartomizer, cartridge, drip tip bag. So let me grab a handful of these things here. So here we can see I've got some cartomizers, got an atomizer, drip tip. These are going to go in this bag. 1, to keep them separate. 2, if you've got pre-filled cartomizers, you don't want them leaking out and getting on anything else. And 3, if you happen to, need to have your bag searched for some reason, TSA thinks you're sinister, you're suspect, you're a shady, shifty character, it's easy, again, just to have all this stuff separated. You also, just like the batteries, don't want to dig through your stuff to, pull out an atomizer and a drip tip once you get to where you're going. So you keep it in a separate bag. It's nice, it's neat, it's easy to find. All there is to it. Again, this is going to go right in my backpack. There we go. Last, this is bag 4. This is also an optional bag. If you're like me, you like to just keep using different juices all the time, you're always switching. This is going to be my checked juice bag. I can put as much juice as I want in here. The size of these containers isn't such a big issue because it's going to go in your checked bag. I would recommend that you don't bring, put 100 ml bottles of juices, anything bigger than a 30 ml bottle of juice in here. But this is going to go right into my checked bag. Before I take this juice, because this is my checked juice, this is the extra juice I want to bring with me, before I put that anywhere, I'm also going to take just a plastic grocery bag, toss them right in, wrap up the bag, and this is going to go right into my duffel bag here. So I'm going to stick it right in there, wrap some clothes on top and underneath once I start throwing clothes in, and it'll keep it. The reason I use the 2-bag system is, if the bag leaks or a bottle breaks, you don't want that to leak out of the Ziploc bag and then on to all your clothes. So I hope that 2-bagging it will keep my things safe. Give it an extra little bit of cushion, I suppose, but not enough to really amount to anything. So again, bag 1 we used for our carry-on juices. Bag 2 for our batteries, whether they're standard e-cig batteries or mod batteries. Bag 3 was for atomizers, cartomizers, drip tips, cartridges to keep those separate. Bag 4 was the optional bag, and that was for our checked bag juice. Okay. So again, bag 4 is optional because if you're not checking a bag, you probably don't have checked bag juices. Lastly, what to do with the mod that you want to pack. Okay. So let's say you're going to bring more than one mod. I normally have a GLV2. I sent it into the shop, so I'll use my silver bullet as a demonstration here. Especially if you've got something that might look funny, box mod. Some box mods might just not look good to a security person if they're coming through with you through security, or like in the GLV2 situation, kind of looks like a little bomb detonator. So what I do is I just take a business card from an e-cig company, and I will wrap it around the mod, and I will take a rubber band and put it around there. Now, I'll make sure that I've got the atomizer removed and the batteries removed as well. But I do this in the off chance that they decide to check through your bag. It might just be your last line of defense if they think that you're bringing some sort of, detonator device, something sinister and suspect through. Hopefully they'll take a look at it and say, oh, well, I guess this should probably be an electronic cigarette. It may not make a world of difference, but it makes me feel better about it. I've never had any problems. When I landed in Manila the last time, my bag wasn't with me. So the process there is that when Delta got my bag into the country, their customs had to actually open up the bag and dig everything out and look through it. So my GLV2 was in there with an e-cig business card wrapped around it. That may have helped, it may not have. Hard to say, but I didn't have any problems. Everything was in my bag, even my checked juices when I got there. So we've packed up everything in our baggies. We've talked about mods and putting those in your checked bag. It's always a good idea to maybe just, rubber band or tape an e-cig business card onto one of them. What do you do about the devices you want to carry on with you? For your carry-on devices, when you're going through the security checkpoint, 1, remove your atomizer. Where are we going to put our atomizer? We're going to put it right into our atomizer bag. Another good reason to put all of those things in their own separate, small little bag. Step 2, open it up, take out your batteries. Here I've got a pair of 16 340s. Where are we going to put those? Battery bag. Again, when we get to where we're going or a point where we can use it, it'll be there, it'll be ready to go. Then step 3, put your mod back together. And I personally like to take this and stick it in my laptop bag. So when I'm going anywhere, I've got a laptop with me, throw it right in there. Also in here, as you can see, is my 5-volt pass-through, USB pass-through. So that's the extra device that I normally bring with me. Sometimes I'll bring a small, single AA box mod. But just make sure you bring enough devices, batteries, juice, what have you, that if you get to a spot where you need to have one, you've got it there with you. The reason I put the mods in my laptop bag, they go in here with all my cables. You can see I've got tons of cables sticking out, pens, everything else. Less likely to raise a flag. The laptop power supply's in there. You have to take your laptop out. So I've never had any problems doing it this way. This is the system that I use every time I fly. It gets me through security in Minneapolis, Tokyo, and Manila with no problems. Gets me through security in Philadelphia, got me through security at O'Hare. Never had any problems. Prior to kind of devising the full-blown system, if you will, I did get stopped once by TSA. I had my indulgence on me at the time, and I'll show you what I did. It was rather stupid of me. I left the batteries in, and I left the atomizer on. Now, I know this is a silver bullet, not an indulgence. And I took it, and I put it with my phone and my wallet and everything else in a little bin to put your pocket items in. Okay, so it went through the scanner, and it didn't come out, didn't come out, didn't come out. And I look at the guy who's, checking out the x-ray machine, and I see him looking at it, and all I see is this giant metal thing on the screen, and it didn't look good. So he called for a bag check. Another TSA agent came over, pulled me aside, had me grab the rest of my things, took the indulgence. He had gloves on, he was handling it all dainty, because who knows what it is, right? He swabbed it down with a little swab pad and put it under a scanner on the computer. Asked me what it was. I told him it was an electronic cigarette. It's a pocket vaporizer for nicotine and, produces water vapor to keep me from smoking cigarettes. And he kind of looked at it. I offered to take it apart for him, give him a demonstration, show him how it worked. I'm sure the last thing he wanted to do before he knew was put it back in my hands in the event it was a malicious device. But once the scan finished reading, came back, there was no explosive residue, no harm. So he handed it back to me, and he did actually thank me for separating it out from everything, because it made it easy for them when they needed to check it. So that's another strategy you could use. Take your mod, just throw it in the bin. They're not going to take your PV away from you. They can't do that. It's not a prohibited item. You're not allowed to use it on planes. So keep that in mind. If you're on an international flight of some kind, you may want to bring some snus, some Nicorette, a nicotine patch, something. If you wanted to be shady about it, you could, I suppose, sneak into the bathroom. I honestly can't recommend that. Please try not to do that. I don't care how long your flight is. Don't ruin it for the rest of us. That's the last thing we need, is somebody to, set off a smoke detector on a plane. Then, none of us are going to be able to get through security checkpoints anymore with our PVs. So please plan ahead again, if you're going to be on a long flight, like an international overseas flight, and make sure you've got enough things to keep you straight from having to go into the bathroom. Heaven forbid you were foolish enough to just do it in your seat, and pulling out your device and just puffing away. So, again, this is BasilRay. This is my first video for VapeNReview.com. Went over some tricks and some tips for travel. Again, I use a 4-bag system. Bag 1 for my carry-on liquids, bag 2 for my batteries, bag 3 for my atomizers, bag 4 for my check bag liquids. I always disassemble my mods, and I take them and I put them in my laptop bag. Make sure you're wise about the amount of juice you're bringing. Make sure you keep your cool if you get stopped by TSA. These aren't prohibited items in any fashion. Just calmly explain to them what they are. You may want to keep an e-cig company business card with you, just in case. It's just an added layer. Keep it in your wallet, in your pocket. If TSA does stop you, you can give them that. It's going to make you look a little bit more official, proper. You're not trying to pull something sinister and suspect. Those are my tricks. Let me know. Leave some comments if you have other things that you like to do or other practices you follow, or if you completely disagree. Glad to hear it. This is what I use. It's worked internationally at 3 different international airports. It's worked domestically as well. So it seems to be a pretty sweet system. But I'm always here to take advice from you guys and to try and give back what I can. Again, BasilRay from the ECF in the YouTube. with my first video for VapeNReview.com. I will catch you guys around.